We got tons to talk about. Mini camp, 10 undrafted free agents, and we got to go through the list of the roster. Man, this roster looks better than last year. This is Victory Mondays. Let's go.
I just feel like it's been a while since we've seen an ass whooping. Like I'm talking about like Denver, Seattle ass whooping from
fucking. I want that. So
from fucking kickoff to the end of the game, just a complete ass whooping. What
can I say except you're welcome?
Let's hunt.
If we don't come together right now on this hollow ground. Where are you going? I'm going to pick a fight.
Get some nothing!
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is that why you're here?
Let the games begin. This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! This is where they die!
Yeah, I think
I'm going to Disney World.
Everybody waiting for that ending to change. Like, Moss, when you gonna get that shit together? All right, I'm working on it. All right, I won't say I'm not. Okay, I have a blueprint. I'm changing it up, so it takes time, man. It takes it. You can't just paint it in a day, right? Picasso took years.
You have to
took
think.
a break, came back.
Take some time to
Take time, man.
Really think.
Man, got to put it together, man. Welcome everybody back for another episode of Victory Mondays. I am Moss Money. I am the player, and I got my guy with me, Ernie B, the GM. What's up, bro?
Hey, man. Just happy to be over with draft season. Now it's just roster evaluation season, which is awesome. I thought we had a fun draft. I thought it went well. I thought that recent clip that the Eagles posted. I don't know if you've seen that like undisputed series they're doing on their YouTube channel, but it's a pretty cool inside look at like how the war room is on day 3 and all that. So I'm happy to get some rookie mini camp talk about this draft, kind of recap where we're at. Hot take from you in the beginning saying it's a better roster on paper than last year that won the Super Bowl, but
yeah, a little bit.
It's looking good.
No, it is looking good. It is looking good, and just some important dates coming up so far. Happy Cinco de Mayo for those who are out there getting their tequila in and tacos in. They just had a mini. It's not even like a mini camp because it wasn't pads. It wasn't.
Oh, it's rookie mini camp. So it's a tryout period for other players around the league. John Ross tried out last year. That was one of those. So it's as far as I know, there were no notable names at tryouts. Just a couple veterans that have been trickled down the league, bottom of the roster guys. But it's why we wait to talk about this is because there's some interesting intel that you get from mini camp as to where certain guys are initially lining up. Like Nate said, there's no pads. This isn't, there's no contact. It's 7-on-7 install, kind of figuring out strengths and weaknesses of guys, just simple movements. They're also not allowed to dive too much into the playbook and stuff like that. So it gets a little finicky. It's getting a feel for these guys in t-shirts and shorts.
Yeah, because I think I saw McCord talk a little bit here. I think he was the only quarterback that was actually there.
McCord and I think Thompson Robinson was at the Thompson Robinson and Hurts were. I'm sure McKee was too. If he wasn't, it was for a valid injury. We're at the initial OTA. So,
and we'll get into Ty Robinson. I want to take a look at him. I want to see if the hype is real because he's got so much hype around him right now. That I definitely I got some film on them. Do want to look at, but here are the dates real quick here. All the important dates coming up.
So we passed May 2nd. So, like I said on a previous show, Jordan Davis's 5th-year option was exercised.
Correct.
I said that Cam Jurgens was going to get extended before the beginning of the season. That happened.
Yes,
I don't know. I can't guarantee Davis would be extended, but I can say that they're looking to use that 5th-year option in an extension.
I would think so. I don't think
the belief is from within the Eagles that they'd be a lot more upset if the player blossomed into who they thought he would be when they drafted him 13th overall and then hit free agency like Milton Williams did. They're looking to get ahead of that. even further than they did with Milton Williams, who they were negotiating with all of last season, but he bet on himself, through and through, and ended up, landing a $26 million annual average value with Patriots. So, I mean, there's different sides to it.
Yeah. So this May 12th rookie football development program.
Yeah.
And
so the teams have to decide between the 2nd through the 5th. Eagles did that, obviously. 9th through the 12th would be any team that didn't. The rookie premiere, that's a fun one. That is that's for like Panini's a big one on that, Topps, all that, rookie cards and stuff, and they do a photo shoot and things. The spring league meeting is big because that is going to be the tush push. The death of the tush push comes that
you
weekend.
think so? I don't think so.
Yeah, it is. It's guaranteed. They've already. It's
guaranteed that it's going away.
Yeah. It's
so. Let me ask you this:
they had to elaborate? They had to elaborate on the language to get it to go through. So.
Are they taking away all pushing?
Well, pulling is technically illegal but we haven't had a penalty since like 1995. So
Right.
There's just half the league thinks that
to the exact too. 1995.
Yeah, so it's like, well, it was in something they wrote today, but it's like it's just funny because, not to dive into it, but it's whatever they do. There's half speculation that it's going to be highly enforced early, and then it's like in the dog pile though. How do you prove who's pushing, who's laying on top of somebody? So I don't think they're going to have any problems with the way that they're going to outrule the tush push, but it will be banned.
Okay. So kind of like we said already, Eagles had kind of the mini camp, some footage. This was from the official Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, just nothing really crazy. Tops and shorts. There's Robinson. No, that's not Robinson. I don't think.
That was Robinson.
That wasn't Robinson 95. Yeah, there he is, right there. Vanilla Gorilla, as they call him, and we'll get into some more.
Yeah, Mr. Pre-Med.
And take a look at him as well. But nothing really came out of the rookie mini camp. I mean, as it shouldn't. We did get a list of the free agents, undrafted free agents. I got this list up here as well. So I'm gonna work a little bit backwards, right? I'm gonna wait to get to the big names, the picks, the Makubas, the Robinsons, the Campbells. Let's go with the kind of no-name folks and people that don't know a lot about some of these names, because I know I didn't look at them all. I won't lie to you. I definitely looked and heard about Pierce from Rutgers, big fella, 6'7", 6'8", 340, 350, listed probably a little bit.
Inch hands, it's outrageous.
Yeah, probably a little bit. He's probably a little bit kind of bigger than that. But anything from what you know from your dealings with the scouts and stuff, anybody on this name that kind of sticks out, like outside of maybe Pierce going to Stoutland University? Anybody in here kind of
Pierce is kind of at the bottom of the list. He's one of the higher profile names just because I thought he was going to get drafted, just based on size and traits. Quick rundown on Pierce. He was a walk-on.
Was it Big Ten? He went two. Was it Big Ten? Was it Big Ten that he went like two-time?
I don't know specifically on that. I just know that he's kind of struggled on and off like typical with guys that size with weight.
Makes sense.
I know there's I guess some kind of similar to Cameron Williams, but he offers a lot more of a upside to it. So I'm surprised Pierce went undrafted, but it is what it is. They get him in there. He's got a long way to the roster. The guy I like, or I would put at the top of the list, is the highest chance to make the initial 53, because the Eagles have tended to keep a UDFA or two over the years, such as Reed Blankenship, Eli Ricks, Josh Jobe. They've tended to do that. Max and Hook out of Toledo is one that sticks out to me. Quinyon Mitchell's roommate at Toledo. He actually profiles very similar to Reed Blankenship. Not the biggest, fastest guy, just always in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't test very well at the combine, but he had good production in college. And I mean, he's just a little bit smaller Blankenship, if you want me to be honest with you, man. I mean, if he can continue to be in the right place at the right time, I could see this guy being a really good special teamer, down to do the dirty work kind of thing. And the way safety's up in the air like it is right now, I think there's a chance that he could make this 53. I mean, if I had to bet on any of these guys making the roster, they did just cut Ty Davis Price and added wide receiver Giles Jackson / returner, wide receiver returner.
Is that that's what I was thinking about. Is that the kid from
Michigan transferred to Washington?
Yeah, I think I saw some.
Yeah, so I mean, he's another one that's got a long shot to make the roster. Even with him on this list, I would still take Maxon Hook as kind of the guy that has the highest chance to make the initial 53.
Okay. Yeah, I really just knew about Pierce. I knew about the guy you just talked about. Didn't really look too much into some of the.
I mean, other than that, Darius Cooper's an interesting player. Shanderick Powell's really interesting. Shanderick Powell's really small, but he had average almost 8 yards per carry in college at Central Arkansas. BJ Mays, Brandon Johnson, they're kind of, iffy DBs. I mean, like I said, I'd pick Maxon Hook out of those. Lance Dixon's a former 5-star recruit, PSU kid. He's transferred a couple places. Taylor Morin's like a Britton Covey, basically. That's all he is. He's an older player, multi-year starter. I think he leads Wake Forest.
Britton Covey said his goodbyes, I think, today. Right?
Yeah, he signed with the Los Angeles Rams.
He did sign with
yeah, Covey signed with the Rams. So I'm sure Sean McVay will find a way to make him look right.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Montrell Johnson had a pretty good 71-yard touchdown run against Miami, I think, that has been highlighted a couple times. But I don't know. I mean, this is a lighter UDFA class than usual. There's no quarterback there, so there's not a lot to talk about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think
Jackson's a fun player. I mean, to gloss over him, he was a really good returner in college. He's a little undersized, but he's a pretty good athlete. He'd be one of those. I would say him and Taylor Moore are definitely competing with Aniyah Smith for a roster spot, that kind of wide receiver for 5 role for the Eagles.
Yeah, they said he lined up almost 75% from the slot or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's looked at as a returner before a receiver. So
because when you look at the depth chart,
they're going to keep 5 typically when you have.
Yeah, I was about to say
what money invested as you do in AJ and Devontae. Your third's Dotson. Your fourth is Wilson, who's your big blocker, outside guy, and then your fifth needs to be able to play special teams in a return form.
Right.
That's what they're going to want out of their 5th receiver or their 4th running back.
I don't think they have the updated with all the rookies and stuff in there, and as they shouldn't. But no, you're right. AJ, Devontae. It looks like
you can go to our lads.
Marshall Jr. was there.
What's that?
Terrence Marshall Jr.
Yeah, Terrace Marshall's up there. I mean, he's competing for a spot.
Yeah,
he's obviously on the outside looking in though, because like I said, he has to beat out Johnny Wilson to make the team.
And you're talking about the main 53, like the 5 that would be on the main 53, right?
Yeah, that would be on the initial 53.
Because I would see almost 8 names here, 8, 9 names.
Yeah, they should have. They currently have 14, or no, they currently have 11 guys on the roster. So Danny Gray is one of the outside guys looking in there with Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, Elijah Cooks is on that.
Yeah, he's all right. And then you got Moore and Cooper and Jackson are your UDFAs. So
yeah. Okay, makes sense. All right, like I said, we're working backwards. We went from the UDFAs, looking at the your draft that you had for the 2025 and your 2-time Super Bowl champions. Where you want to start? You want to start all the way at pick 6 and work our way back, or do you want to go from McCord?
Well, I mean, they made 10 picks. They made 10 picks, so I mean, we can go from 10 and work it down to 1, whichever way you want to do it. I mean, we can gloss over the later guys pretty quick.
Yeah. So, outside linebacker, Antoine Powell. Is that Ryan? Ryland?
Yeah, APR.
APR, I like it. For VTech.
He had 25 and a half sacks over the past 2 years. I think he had 17 sacks last year. Really productive player in that sense. He's not really undersized. There's heavy questions on his want to play the run.
I was about to say, why did he fall so much?
I mean, 31 and a quarter inch arms, 9 and 5/8 inch hands isn't the best. He weighed in 6'3", 258 at the combine though. So I mean, pretty good 3-4 edge rusher. Not really. I mean, he's why he fell is because APR is a DPR. He is a designated pass rusher. That's about all he's got. We'll see if he can, maybe work on special teams or if they want to stash and develop him. Usually Howie doesn't cut his draft picks. So as of right now, I'd say I'd try to find a way to work him on the roster as a developmental pass rusher.
All right. Mr. Williams, tackle from Texas.
So Cameron Williams is the fun one. He's got a ridiculous build and frame. 6'6".
He looks like an offensive lineman now that I look at him.
Yeah, 34.5-inch arms, 11 3/8-inch hands. Just really big at the point of attack.
Let me see if I can pull this up.
It's technique, it's effort, it's the weight, things that make a guy who started at right tackle for the University of Texas fall to the 6th round. It's just questions like that. But I think you get a guy that you didn't enroll at Stoutland University who, between him and the next guy we're going to talk about in a couple picks is I think he's really good to bring in when they brought him in.
Right.
Like I said, there's some big technique questions. There's some big want questions. Just because he's big and measures well doesn't mean that he even loves football in any sense. So I think Cameron Williams is a guy that we should look to develop over the next couple years. And I'm pretty stoked about the linemen that they brought in this cycle. I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, this whole cycle, I thought it was one of his better drafts.
I thought it aided the roster well without forcing any picks.
Exactly. And then you got guys that were
for the Eagles at every pick, and it was like guys just kept. I mean, I was watching names go off the board, and this is at every pick, even before Cameron Williams. I mean, there was a name I can't remember off the top of my head at this point, but there's just names, and then it's like I was like, damn, I can't believe they got sniped there, and they traded back a lot because they were getting sniped. Jalen Travis, I know, in the 3rd or 4th was one that they were upset about, but I thought they came away with, like Howie said, we're going for starters here, right? I'm not looking to fill the backup role. We can get backups whenever we want. They're everywhere. They're waiting on the couch to be signed. Let's go for guys that have a risk, but that, have a chance to pop with the right coaching and the right environment. So Williams is a fun one. I'm happy to see how he does. He could be a total bust, just so everybody knows, they're not going to hit on every 10 guys. I mean, but as of right now, Cam Williams' profile is 100% worth developing.
Well, my thought is just like the next guy, the 6th pick, 129 was. Let me bring up his little picture here. Was the fact that they're all like guys who can play different positions.
Well, Cameron Williams is a right tackle as opposed to left tackle, whereas Miles Hinton here is a left tackle as opposed to right tackle. They both play both. But
they both play. That's what I'm saying. But they have the flexibility.
Yeah, but they're both really big guys. Which we played Becton at right guard last year, so there's chances there that they're gonna put it to you like this. Stoutland's gonna find a role for these dudes no matter what. When these guys are playing at their best, they move people. But there's a lot of times where a guy like Miles Hinton, you want to talk about profile, 6'7", 323, 34 1/8-inch arms, 10 1/4-inch hands. Son of Chris Hinton, who was part of the
John was the number 4th overall pick in '83.
Yeah, which is, you got
the pedigree, you got the bloodline.
Dog. And we saw that with who we're going to talk about here in a minute too, Drew Kendall. So I just thought this was such a good kid to bring. The problem with Hinton is this. It's lack of violence at the point of attack. It's lack of consistency of violence in the run game. This is a big, strong dude who needs to be taught how to be it's okay to hurt people. And, Nate can attest to this. A lot of these big dudes and these big offensive linemen struggle with that. That is something that nasty streak doesn't come in all of them. It doesn't come in a lot of them, and that's why they fizzle out.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I was aggressive and physical, but I didn't have like a mean streak to me when I played.
Yeah,
I was like if I had a clear shot to clean you out, I'm taking it.
Of
like
course.
I'm putting you in the dirt, and it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But for me, it wasn't like I wasn't coming and like giving you an elbow shiver or anything like that, or anything like I wasn't going low to your knees. I was running right through you and burying you. So I think that mean streak, you just have it or you don't. I think people,
And
it's a personality trait. It's not like something you develop.
That is a lot harder to bring out in a kid like Henton as opposed to Williams. Henton's played a lot more football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you have the pedigree of the bloodline. The goal is for Miles Henton, in my opinion, I think veteran swing tackle. Like I think this guy could, be the Kendall Lamb that we have on the roster right now, where, first guy off the bench, is it left tackle? Is it right tackle? Hell, it might be left guard, right guard. The only thing he ain't playing is center. And so that's just, I think he's one of those guys. I think Cameron Williams is a little bit more upside as on his athletic profile, but Henton definitely has a higher floor.
Yeah, give me a sec.
You're good.
I don't like that. That thing kind of starting to go light on me. I hate that. There you go, right there. All right, that's better. I hate the auto light. Yeah, but no. To your point, yeah, the bloodline. This will be it'll be definitely interesting. It's just something about Stoughton and his tutelage and how he brings guys up, but you just kind of give him bodies who are teachable, who have size, who have some type of pedigree.
You want to be coached. You got to find.
Yeah, give me a trait that I can deal with, and then I can bring him along. Right? He might not be ready tomorrow. He might not be ready next week. Shit, he might not be ready next month. But give me 2 years with the same guy in the program, and we'll get him ready to be able to at least play. Not saying he's going to be great. Not saying he's going to replace
exactly. And I think that people have to understand as listeners that is a big part of roster building too, and especially inside of Philadelphia. We've only gone over one defensive player so far, but the word is Vic Fangio had much heavier of a hand this cycle than he did last cycle.
And I think you saw that in the room too when
I mean him and Stoutland, it turned into, because they've had the success that they've had, the roster is what it is. They're able to just take, like we were talking about, best player available.
Yep.
And when you've built your roster as deep as they have to this point, you get to take shots on this kid right here. I mean, you're talking about led the FBS in passing yards.
Yep.
Was a 5-star recruit to Ohio State, was stuck behind CJ Stroud. If we're wondering, where was he? I mean, he wasn't just sitting behind a nobody. He was sitting behind a number 2 overall pick. And he goes to Syracuse. He plays great. The big connection here is the new QB coach, Scott Loeffler, was actually the first formal offer Kyle McCord ever got. It was back when he was at Boston College. They offered him out of the 8th grade. And so McCord is a kid, St. Joe's prep. I mean, he's got all the intangibles to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. Like McCord is just, he's not never going to be Mahomes, Josh Allen, or anything like that. But dude, the kid can just be a good backup. And I think that with McKee, little light of success next year, I believe is the last year in his contract. I think we're just going to see the QB factory keep churning.
And not even that, he's an Eagles fan. He's a big Donovan McNabb.
Well, they've been aired it out. He actually was a former Jets fan growing up, and he wanted to clear the air on that. But he's a local kid, which is.
But I thought he's a huge Donovan McNabb fan, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, McNabb. Most people.
Well, and obviously Q's, right? We're talking about him and Q's.
Oh yeah.
That kind of makes sense as well. All right.
But
so
he was just a BPA. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a practice squad quarterback. I mean, he's played pretty bad when he's gotten in the games. You can say he wasn't ready, but I mean, McCord steps in and, in my opinion, is already ahead of him.
Yep. And then it's been a while since we drafted a center. If I feel.
I mean, Juergens,
yeah. I guess that was a bad take. Just the second best center in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
he drafted like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess that was a bad take.
Well, Kendall's. They announced him as a center guard here, so let's make that note.
Right.
But they have been looking for a true backup center, even before the Kelsey to Juergens transition. They've Stoutland has always wanted a guy that can do this, is play center guard. It's just really fucking hard to find those guys.
Yeah.
It's really easy to find guys that can go tackle guard. It is really, really hard to get guys to snap the football. Howie Roseman said it himself in his post-draft press conference that snapping the football is an innate trait, and there's just guys that can do it. There's guys that can't, and this is a kid that can do it. Son of Pete Kendall, former NFL offensive lineman. So there's
another, and then Howie talked about this at his presser. Right? He talked about
when you're in round 5, and Jeff Stoutland taps you on the shoulder, a couple scouts say, I liked Kendall, and Kendall is a player that I liked a lot too. I mean, I think that he gives you a good pedigree, but he also brings positional versatility. But kind of like I was alluding to in the beginning, he can snap the fucking ball. Not a lot of guys can snap the ball. Right now, the backup center on this roster is Eagles journeyman, Brett Toth. So
I was going to say Dickerson would be the first one up, in my opinion.
Well, that was the thing is Nick Gates was technically on the roster as a center guard last year, but Stoutland didn't trust him to snap the football in the playoffs. They moved Dickerson, which he never moves 2 bodies. But he trusted Steen more than he trusted Nick Gates. So right. I think, I can already say that from rookie minicamp, a fun note from Kendall was he was taking reps at center and right guard. So as I understand, Kendall should be firm in the competition for right guard between Tyler Steen and Kenyon Green. Trevor Keegan from last year for Michigan, another name to kind of toss out for there too.
And when it works, it works, right? And
when it doesn't, it's going to look terrible. But it's kind of one of those things where
this guy. I was talking about the next guy. When you go back to the well, you just keep going back.
You don't go into that talking about Smile Mondon, man. I mean, you're talking about a fucking 5-star safety out of high school. He's built he's just a little light, and he's safety playing linebacker is what he is.
Yeah,
but Smile Mondon. It is Smile, not Smale. He's named after his father. He is a junior. This is a true modern day off-ball linebacker. This is a really rangy, athletic, good in pass coverage. Like I said, he has that safety, that DB tutelage. So, I mean, he's able to go fall back on that. This guy led the Georgia Bulldogs.
I was going to say he led the Bulldogs in tackles.
Yeah, I mean, he's Nakobe's understudy. Him and Nakobe stayed well connected through college. Nakobe was super stoked when they were having some pre-draft, discussions. And this dude has just put his nose at the grindstone and work. In my opinion, I think we got an upgrade to Oren Burks for the long haul. We have a multi-year contract with a guy that we're basically paying nothing. And he's going to start off as a core special teamer. He loves special teams. He said in his opening press
conference. Was he the guy who signed? Was he the guy who signed 4 years?
Oren Burks was the one that started in the Super Bowl last year.
No. Did Smile sign a contract already? I thought it was 4 years.
We have 5. Yeah, we have 5 guys that have signed so far.
Yeah,
Smile
he was one of them, right?
He was the first one to sign.
Yeah,
he might have been the first rookie to sign a contract, to be honest with you. But yeah. But I mean, you can just look at the dude, man. He's got a really good rocked up upper body. But it's we're talking about a kid that matches the pedigree of what Howie looks for. You know what I mean? He matches the university that he looks for because he's wearing a Georgia jersey. But again, the value, round 5, pick 161. I mean, this was a top 100 player for me. So I'm kind of looking at there's not big injury concerns. I mean, he produced at the college level, a little light in the waist, but I mean, look at the frame. I mean, you saw the dude do his interview. I mean, he's sitting up there like this. I mean, he can add some weight to that frame, and it's not going to hurt him. I mean,
for sure.
There are questions if Jahad Campbell can add a little bit more weight because he's rocked to the tooth. But I mean, Mondon just shows it. Like I said, I truly think this is Oren Burks is his floor if he does what he's supposed to do and stays healthy. Yeah. And you get that on a 4-year deal. In my opinion, man, I mean, I love Trott Jr. and I think he's, going to be a good player, but I think he has day one competition for.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think this is,
absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, even with the pedigree with Trott, right? And we got Trott, just because of that connection. I saw he has to finish. He had some shots where he filled some gaps. I think he has good instincts. But some of those he just didn't finish behind the line, right? He
was
disrupted
a-
it. He disrupted it enough for the guys behind him to rally, but it's just like he just didn't finish. I think for him, he's not going to be like his dad, where his dad came in and well, no, actually, no, his dad was a third
He's half
rounder.
the size of his father, man. I mean,
I get the size thing. I'm not
I
saying
mean,
that.
he's tiny. Like you can talk about Mondon.
I'm talking about just the
lightweight,
skill
you know.
set. I'm not talking about his.
Well, I mean,
body.
he's kind of suffers from a lot of the same things as Nakobe Dean, which the question was for Nakobe was, is Nakobe too small to play in the league? And I'm not going to say he's too small, but his body isn't holding up. I mean, he didn't have these kind of injuries at Georgia. You're talking about double Lisfranc and a torn patellar. I mean, those are tough injuries to come off of.
Yeah, I mean,
Trotter hasn't played enough yet to see anything, but we'll see. Like you said, I mean,
we'll see, and we see if Trotter can put something on his frame too. Right?
I mean, I think week 1 Trotter is going to be the starter next to Bond.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think they'll give him, as long as he is in the right place at the right time, makes Bond will wear the green. Will Bond win the green dot?
Yeah, Bond
will wear the green dot, and
Trotter play cleanup.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't do anything bad, then
yeah, no blatant reasons to be pulled off the field. Then I mean, I think
they want him. They want him to take that
start.
position.
You're probably watching Trot start till probably week 5, kind of similar to DeJean and Maddox before you see Campbell play, just because they're not going to rush him back. So
and I actually think they'll use more, and we'll get to Campbell, but we'll get to Campbell. Let me so the next guy, I don't know too much about him. McWilliams.
Yeah, McWilliams, Senior Bowl. UCF was a UAB transfer. He actually was playing outside in minicamp. So I think he's going to be in the Adoree Jackson Keely Ringo competition. Although I think he slots in perfectly as the Avonte Maddox kind of first corner off the bench kind of role. We'll see where Vic slots him. Versatile DB, good athletic traits. Like I said, a little on the spot, built more like a nickel, but he holds up on the outside. Ideally, I think, like I said, this is the Maddox role of last year, where you're getting DeJean's, if God forbid anything were to ever happen to him, which would be awful for this team.
Yeah.
I think this kid provides the size, traits, attributes to kind of slot in there. And I think that he gives you the youthfulness that you had lost with Maddox.
Right.
Plays a little reckless, you know.
I saw them Florida boys be, man.
But he did really well at the Senior Bowl. Like, he lined up against some guys that I didn't think he was going to play that well against. And he really he's spicy, you know, at the point of attack.
Yeah, that's how them Florida boys be.
Yeah, and that's, that's where I'd probably look for DBs, if you want me to be honest with you, man. I mean, they're the Florida DBs tend to be, you know, they tend to be all right.
Yeah. I was about to say they tend to be all right. We done had a couple. They do tend to be all right. All right, let's talk about the big fella, man. The Manila Gorilla.
Nate's enemy number 1. He's found his guy, people. It was Nolan Smith. Now it's Ty Robinson.
No,
he's attacking a 4th-round pick.
I'm not attacking him. You know what I mean? But it's just like everybody's talking about him. And everybody's saying that he's this and he's that. I know he had a nice run at the end here where he got hot. I think he had like 5 sacks in 4 games or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he fell, is because he has no production and he has really short arms. So, I mean,
he looks like it, right? I mean,
he's not, you know, he's really tall. He's 6'6", you know.
Yeah, and he seems like a big guy who can move, right? He ran like a 4.
He's really athletic.
A 4.8 at. They said he dropped 20 pounds, but he ran a 4.8 at 6'5", 6'6" at 280. He was
the fastest lineman at the combine,
fastest interior lineman at the combine, which is impressive.
You know, Robinson, I think
he's an exciting white. You know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that only counts as DBs. You can't. We can't just start tossing that around for boys.
He doesn't fit in. You know what I mean?
That doesn't work.
Cooper and Reed have been to a couple barbecues already.
Is more of an exciting white.
They've been to a couple cookouts. I don't think Ty ain't been there yet.
No, Ty is he's pre-med, which is pretty cool. So he's going to be a pediatrician.
He looks smart.
Well, he did 19 credit hours during the season, and so he's going to be a pediatrician when football's over. He also had a pet camel apparently back in the day.
Yeah.
But I think this is a player that fits the NFL 3-4. We'll see. Like, he just has to not get stood up. You don't get stood up. He's got, like I said, he's got shorter arms. He just needs to develop.
It's hard not to get stood up at 6'6".
It is. But there are reps like there where, he's just kind of bowling ball his way through. I mean, he has power.
We'll take a look back here. So I know that he led the nation in pressers from the zero tech. And it was like a pretty high number. He's not 14%.
I mean,
he's a good backup to.
This is Moro Ojomo's backup. So
I was going to say Davis. You don't think it's Davis's backup?
No, he doesn't have a shot in hell to play on the inside in the NFL. He would get eaten alive, Nate.
Oh.
He's not. He has a better chance of playing defensive end than playing 0-1. He doesn't have that kind of. He doesn't have that base. You know what I mean? He just doesn't. He's not a.
So this is not a bad route. He splits, the double team or whatever that was over there.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't bad. And then this is a bad. This is like a stretch play.
This is where he's the most comfortable.
Yeah, his head is outside. You see his left hand there. The only problem is he doesn't really change the line of scrimmage, right? You see all the other linemen, they're at least like up already.
Oh, yeah.
So he's already standing up because he can see the ball, right? So you see, and he gets, but he like you see his left hand, right? His left hand. Yep. I know it's hard to see in the dark, but his left hand is pushing out as that shows his strength. Even though he's got short arms, he can hold. That's probably a good 300-pounder there. He can hold off with one arm, right?
I mean, Milton Williams had short arms,
and then he's good enough to shed the block, right, and get it back across the face and make the play, that's a decent play, right, on a stretch. This is him lining up at zero tech, and I'm just seeing this for the first time, y'all. So I'm just kind of evaluating it. So you following the line. I don't know why the center it's a stretch to the right, I guess. That's a weird play. I mean, honestly, if you look at is that the safety? The safety there was that right near the ref. Like as soon as the center goes, like Jesus Christ, like look at the hole. Like you got to be able to feel that. Like his reaction's so slow. Like you're already behind. Will Howard is giving off the ball, and the safety there is not even in front of the ref yet. Like you got to be downhill to come back and clean it out. But again, another kind of stretch play. He gets a little jolted up right there. You see his hat get high. I think it's right there. Right there. You see he gets his hat's kind of high there. He gets jolted up. But he sees the ball because there's a crease there. It makes a recovery, right? Swipes, swims over. His head's already inside. So boom, good play. So I mean,
I think the 0-1 stuff is definitely overinflated. Like
you think it's over? See, that's what I was saying.
He's not playing that position. Like I'll put it to you like this: he's going to line up. He's going to play that. So the way the defensive line rotation would be, your first three up are going to be Carter playing his position, which at this point is kind of his own position of wherever side of the ball he wants to be on.
Yeah.
Davis is your 0-1. Your opposite rusher is going to be a little bit more outside, which is Milton Williams. Now it's Moro Ojomo. So Moro Ojomo, his backup's going to be Ty Robinson. Jordan Davis's backup's Thomas Booker. Jalen Carter's backup right now is Byron Young. So I see Gabe Hall, who is the leaner DT out of Baylor that they retained through the year. He's kind of tall and lean. I think that's kind of what they're looking for, maybe by that build, with a little bit more height and just kind of the ability to line up a little bit more outside, kind of that 9 spot, which is where Milton was able to play. Now Milton played that at a very unique body size. But he was just such a good pass rusher. He had such good athleticism. You couldn't, when Milton Williams came out, man, it was like, there were people that were like, all right, well, he's either Aaron Donald or bust. So, they've never made it at this size. Nobody's ever been this compact and was able to move around like that. But 3-4 defensive end, he made it work. I think that's Ty Robinson's future is he's got to just, he's not, Vic Fangio can't put him in that 0-1, man. He can't play that shade. He just doesn't have the power. He's too tall. And he doesn't have the mass that Davis has.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't want to say he's too tall because Davis what legit 6'7", 6'8".
He's 6'6". But Davis is 335, on a light day. So it's like, and he still runs sub 5. So it's like,
but I mean, I think this kid, if he could lose
the
20,
4th round value is fantastic. Like I said, he's going to take some time to develop. Like right now, he's going to get, to begin the season, 10 snaps, like 15 snaps, maybe 12 snaps. I mean, he's going to just back up a jump and he's going to be part of the rotation.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ideally,
we'll see preseason. I'll keep my eye on him.
I think it's going to be fun to see where they put him in the preseason.
He'll get a lot of snacks preseason.
Yeah, I think the edge rush rotation is going to be the most fun thing to watch in the preseason, just because how deep it is with like actual talent. I just think Ty Robinson they don't have a veteran in that room. I mean, there's not a single veteran in the interior defensive lineman room, and they didn't do it last year either, and it didn't bite him in the ass. So we'll see how it goes, but Ty's got to immediately, up to your 4th round pick, you're already asking this guy, he's got to play 10, 12, 14 snaps.
Yeah. Okay. And was this the trade? Did they trade up for him?
No, they traded out of the 3rd.
They traded out of 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, traded out of the 3rd, and he was still there, and he was one of their higher ranked players. So he was another top 100 player. I had Ty Robinson as a top 100 player. So at 111, this is great value.
Right.
You make the pick.
All right. Now, this one is looking like the CJ GJ kind of replacement, Andrew Makuba.
Yeah, Andrew Makuba, Drew Makuba. He goes by Drew. He was my safety 2 behind Malachi Starks, ahead of Eamon Warry, just based on the way Eamon Warry plays. Eamon Warry was born to be a Seahawk and play for Mike McDonald. Makuba fits what Fangio wants out of that role, the opposite role of Reed Blankenship. Makuba,
who reminds me of, not to cut you off there, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna see if I can get some just some quick highlights on him real quick. I know there's a ton of them. Jenkins.
Kind of. He's kind of, his pro player comparison for me is Gardner Johnson.
But Gardner's got 20 pounds on him though, right?
Well, yeah, but go watch Gardner Johnson's rookie year in New Orleans. You look at him in Florida. I mean, he's got a little bit more in the waist, but who's to say? I mean, the weight thing on Makuba is silly. I mean, I've watched him run through dudes twice his size.
I was about to say he plays big, and that's why that's where the Jenkins comes from.
The question is not whether or not the kid is going to be able to hit these players. It's does he hold up when he does? And so far he's held up. But I mean, we're talking about a rangy. I mean, he's very good communicator on the back end. He can play the nickel. He can play the strong side safety. He can play free side safety. I mean, he's extremely versatile. His versatility is why the Eagles picked him where they picked him. We've kind of used that word a lot in this draft class, his versatility.
Absolutely.
Outside of Kyle McCord being versatile on the bench.
I was about to say, what player doesn't have a slash?
McCord, but I mean, he's going to be more versatile which spot he's warming up on the bench. He is, so it is what it is.
Right.
Like QB3, that active QB3, the emergency quarterback. So, I mean, Makuba, man, I really, really liked this pick. I mean, I thought this one was just a perfect way to start the round 2. Ideally was hoping for them to make a 3rd round pick. They didn't, but this kid fits the defense perfectly. And in my opinion, I don't think Sidney Brown has a chance beating Makuba out for that spot. I think Makuba is exactly what Vic wants to play that position. And I don't care about his size. I think that the production last year at Texas and the versatility, like I said, being able to play that nickel where GJ, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is one of my favorite players in the league, but he's slowing down a bit in that nickel role. And guys like Malachi Starks and Andrew Makuba are not slowing down. They're just getting bigger.
Yeah, some plays here from him. And like I said, he just reminds me of Malcolm.
I just think with the reckless abandon he plays with is just like Gardner Johnson. And it's just funny that they play the same position. I mean, dude, he just runs through people. That's Jeremiah Smith, too. That's a big boy.
Wow, the guy in the scene was fucking wide open. Fucking terrible play. Great film here, guys. Give me that. He saw that play all the way.
Well, he's just. I mean, look at that. I mean,
Well,
just
yeah. You see it.
click and close.
Yeah, let's just go back to that. Jesus Christ.
One scout said that his hands, feet, eyes, and brain all move at the same speed, and that is an elite trait as a defensive back.
So this one's going to be a little bit more choppy, but look at this play. Look at this recognition of where, and look how fast he gets upfield.
Yeah, this is
nice. Boom. Good play.
I mean, look at the slot right there. That was straight out of the slot, and then still making a play on the back end. That's the stuff Gardner Johnson did at Florida, and he did early on in his career.
Like his recognition and just get his feet in the ground and go. Said, man,
this is straight from straight from a league scout. Is his eyes, his feet, and his brain all move at the same speed. They just
so that's the problem there. Can he hang with those some of those hits?
Can you keep hitting guys like that?
Yeah, because look where he's coming. He's like on these last two, he's coming from 10, like that's 10, 15 yards back.
I'm telling you, dude, he runs through you. I mean, this kid plays just like Gardner Johnson. You go look up his Florida stuff, man. I mean, he's a freight train, man. He hits like a Mack truck, dude. And everyone's talking about, he's a little undersized. I don't care if you're hitting dudes like this, man.
Now, I like a guy who's not scared of contact.
Xavier Watt out of Notre Dame was the guy a lot of fans were upset that the Eagles didn't take because he was ranked higher on some boards, longer production. But he's bigger, but he's already struggling with injuries.
Right.
So you knock the kid that's smaller, but he hasn't been hurt yet. So, I mean, we'll see. Nakobe Dean, we had this conversation earlier.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll see because NFL's different. You know what I mean?
It's player to player, in my opinion. It's 100% player to player.
Grown men out there. All right, let's go to the number one pick. Not the number one pick, but our Philadelphia Eagles number one pick with the 31st.
He was to them apparently.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
he was that on everybody's board, right? Jihad was a top 10, top 15
he was
player.
The top all linebacker for most. He's top 15.
Yeah.
I had him 12. So I mean, I thought
on everybody's board.
Coming off of torn labrum surgery in March. Let's make that clear. Torn labrum surgery in March.
And I have my labrum still torn, so I know what that feels like. And it's tough to play. I going into the gym, just working out is tough. Now trying to keep dudes off you, 300 plus pounds and being physical with that, that's it's definitely tough. But listen to the kid talk. He's a football player. You know what I mean? SEC, we go right back to the well again. These Bama and Georgia guys. Gotta love it. But I mean, that's the pictures right there. Just says it all. Picked a weird number 30, right? Not sure if I like that.
Well, that was his freshman number at Alabama, but we do a thing now where we do the Patriot thing where the top guys have to earn their numbers. So they give them a really shitty number to begin with. So don't buy a jersey with Jihad Campbell as number 30 because he's probably going to change.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mitchell started at like 30 or something else too, and then he ended up getting his college number. He's not getting 11, I can tell you that, but he won't be playing with 30, I don't think. They've been doing this past couple seasons.
Okay. So 6'3", 235, off-bound linebacker, first one selected since 1979. Jerry Robinson, I have no idea who that is.
He's the last linebacker picked in the first round by the Eagles. I know that.
Yeah, right.
Back in 1979.
From Jersey, so he's a kind of area boy.
Kid.
Yep. 184 tackles, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles. Was a semifinalist for the Buckus Award. Off-ball linebacker, second team All-American. Question though, is he going to play off-ball linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yes.
Okay.
He's playing off-ball linebacker. I mean,
because from what I'm gathering, Dallas Turner was in front of him.
Will Anderson
was in front of him. So there was nowhere to
he was
really go.
As a pass rusher, just like Micah, just like Abdul Carter. It got a little clogged in there with all that talent. He moved to off ball. They said, man, this kid's an athletic freak. He can kind of make this work. Now he does both. But what will he do for the Philadelphia Eagles? Look, man, they're not taking him at that position with the way that pass rush looks. I mean, I'll put it to you like this. They don't draft a guy thinking he's going to play two positions. But Fangio would like to go back to what he did with Willis and Bowman and have that ability, because if you look at Bond and Campbell, they're very similar. Long, rangy, both good in pass coverage, both extremely athletic, and both can rush the passer. So those sim blitzes are going to be ridiculous. You know, who's coming? I mean, think about a lineup of, let's just say, we'll even say Nolan Smith is missing week 1, right? Let's just take Nolan Smith off the table. And we'll just say, well, no, that's a bad thing to say. We'll just say everybody's healthy. All right, week 1.
Yeah, I'm about to say, why would you take Nolan? Give me the ultra team here. Right? Don't take Nolan
Smith
off.
You'd have Jalix Hunt. You'd have Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Mora Ajomo. There's your, let's say we're going, they're bringing the house. And then you're going to have Bond, you have Campbell. I mean, think about the games you're able to play with that lineup. I mean, it's this kid, and go back to what I said earlier, Fangio had a hand in this draft. But they were trying to trade up past 22 to get this kid.
Yeah, they were trying to trade up to what, like,
I mean,
Washington,
they clearly see him. And Howie Roseman said it himself. He compared him to Abdul Carter and Micah Parsons. He will not be either of those players. But if he can be that style of player for the Eagles, then they have a hit player.
So when you say he can't be any of those players, it's just his talent and his ceiling is just not there.
I mean, they have the same measurables. I mean, you can look at him and Micah, but no, you're not Micah Parsons. Abdul Carter is not Micah Parsons. In my opinion, Micah Parsons is the best player, is the best defensive player in football. I think hands down he is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Abdul Carter is not going to be Micah. So I just think Jihad is right below that. Okay. And I think that that's still a really good football player to get it picked 31 in the first. 31, a lot of people view as a second round pick, and you have him for 5 years. You have that 5th year control. I'm telling you, man, you put Bond and Campbell out there as your starting linebacker duo, or you still have Dean and you drop him down as a pass rusher. And if he drops into coverage, he's pretty good in coverage too. You know what I mean? It's just the games you can play. Again, versatility. This Vic loves versatility. And I mean, this just screams.
I thought he would be an interesting, I heard he was a pass rusher when he got to Bama. They recruited him as a pass rusher.
Highly touted pass rusher out of high school.
Highly touted pass rusher. It's just that there was, where did Turner and Anderson were both top 5 picks? Were they both top 5?
Anderson was
at least top 10, both top 10. At least
Turner
10.
was a top 15 pick. I think he might have been 12 or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah. So when you have that type of talent in front of you, that's tough to break, right?
I mean, hell, Carter was behind at Penn State. He was behind Ebiketie and UDFA. So I mean, he was behind both of those dudes who haven't sniffed that, but at the time in college, they're those kind of players. So you're not going to leapfrog them. I mean, but Carter was so good, they had to put him on the field. That's what it was with Campbell. I mean, he was so good. They were like, all right, this kid's got to play. I mean, he has to play. Like, it is what it is. He's too good. Yeah. And he did. And he played well. I mean, it's not, we're not talking about Luke Kuechly kind of tape here. That's not what I'm asking him to be. But he's in the right place at the right times. And hands are batting balls down. He's getting in passing lanes, but he fills run gaps. And when he's told to go, he pins those ears back and he goes. And he wreaks havoc on his way to the quarterback. Now off the edge, it's a little different. In my opinion, he's a much better blitzer up the middle, through the A gap, B gap than he is off the edge. Okay. But like I said, I think Fangio is not looking to retire anytime soon after that Super Bowl high. And I think that he looked at, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I've never seen that guy smile that hard. I've never seen Vic Fangio.
But I was like, damn, that's an old head that's smiling hard. I'm like, ooh.
Dude, I mean, I just think that, and they said it, they're not going to listen to what they say. Don't,
well, how he said it too. He looked, he's like, hey, Vic, I got you, Jihad Campbell.
He compared him to Abdul Carter and Micah Parsons. And he used the statement, that kind of player.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. He's going to play both. But on
Yeah.
this roster, look at where does it make sense for him to play? Come week 6. Y'all are going to be begging for Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to be on the bench and Jihad Campbell in the lineup. And we're not going to be worried about him playing the edge. No one's going to give a shit. It's going to be like, get the best players on the field. So,
So if we're looking at these draft picks, and we hope they hit, right? That's
Oh yeah.
We hope they hit. And just say Jihad is similar to Cooper, right? Comes in late and makes an instant impact. And let's say Robinson has some impact because he's in the rotation at least. Not saying he's going to get all these sacks.
Makuba would be the big impact they need.
And then Makuba's a starter, right? You need to replace. You have a starter. I'm not saying these are all pros or anything like that. Say your first 3 picks.
They do what we expect them to do.
Correct.
Internally.
Correct. Do you think this defense is better than last year's defense?
No, because I ragged on Slay a lot, but he was still so much safer of a floor than Ringo, Jackson, or McWilliams, or whoever ends up playing spot. I think, as corny as it is to say, I think the Keeley Ringo number change to number 7 from 22 is a signal that they announced they upgraded Dotson and Ringo this year, which tells me that
Dotson took 2,
I think they want Dotson and Ringo, because they called it like single digit status. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they can't help but push. Why are we choosing a random day to high? I mean, there were a bunch of guys that changed their numbers. Ben Van Sumeren no longer has to list as eligible at fullback because he's wearing number 43 now, so he's actually a fullback. So previously at 57, he had to come on the field.
Who was his name? The dude from Seattle, Weaver. Was his first? What's his first name? Leonard.
Which one?
The fullback that we signed. He was an All-Pro here. His last name was Weaver. He used to wear the visor. I forget his fucking first name.
I can't.
But he was from Seattle.
Name. Did you see what Lori said today though on WIP?
No.
I think he said something along the lines of basically like we're gonna make fullback relevant again, like fullback, like just saying like screw the passing game, like we're bringing the fullback into it, like I mean, I'd say go ahead and pencil in Van Sumeren on your 53 kids because he ain't going nowhere. I mean, I think that where this roster is, I think that they are without Brandon Graham and Darius Slay. They're obviously extremely younger.
Absolutely.
I don't think they have a player older than.
Are they the youngest team in the league?
One of them, yeah. I mean, by far. Lane doesn't help, but I mean, they're one of the average value. Graham's retirement hasn't processed yet, so that's kind of messing with the algorithm. But they're one of them. I think they're one of the youngest defenses on paper for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, they don't have a guy over 26 as far as I know.
Yeah, it says the Packers are the youngest team.
I'm sure the Packers are the youngest team in the NFL.
The Bucks, and then surprisingly the Rams.
Well, yeah, Rams are up there too.
I know the Rams are really young on defense.
They've got a lot of young guys.
I feel like Stafford's like 45. So.
Yeah, he's probably the one guy that's like tilting it a little bit, but they've kind of Devontae Adams too. But yeah, I mean, I just think right now we're in a state of one thing I did want to bring up that I want to make sure I mention on the show is, I mean, real quick. We didn't draft a tight end. They didn't throw one dart at tight end.
Yeah, good call.
So from what I understand,
I heard they're going to do the same thing, right?
So Goddard
would sweat.
Goddard is due 13.995 is an option bonus that has to be exercised by the start of the regular season. So they have to make a decision on Goddard. They have to choose to force him to play, which he could hold out or hold in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they have to make a decision, essentially. Mm-hmm. There is an option bonus here. From what I understand, they don't want to pay that kind of cash for the player. And the way that it was explained to me by somebody else is that the way Sweat's contract was done was actually at the time, it was more guaranteed money than his original contract. So it was actually kind of like they kind of paid him more because they gave him more guaranteed cash. Goddard is straight cash, but it's out of guarantees money. So it was literally a straight check from Jeffrey Lurie. is what this bonus is. And from what I understand, they're still trying to move the contract as it sits. And one thing I did want to make a note of is going back, we're talking about the roster. They have 7 tight ends on roster right now, all of which are on 1-year deals. So including Goddard, that is Grant Calcaterra's in last year's contract, Kylan Granson, Harrison Bryant, Cameron Latu were all signed to 1-year deals. Nick Muse, 1-year deal, EJ Jenkins on the last year of his 2-year futures contract. So I've heard Michael Mayer from the Raiders is a name to potentially watch.
Yeah, I keep hearing
Goddard
that
was
too.
moved. And I've heard some rumblings is to keep an eye on Cole Kmet in Chicago.
Really?
I've just recently heard some things about that.
That'd be
And
a
I don't
nice
really
pick.
believe it because I think that Johnson wants to run that 12 personnel with him and Loveland and kind of do exactly what he did in Detroit. But hey, maybe he has a different way he wants to do things. But as of right now, I'm still going to go with I'm going to say they trade Goddard before the deadline. I got one for you. I'll pivot it to defense, though. Is Bryce Huff going to make the team?
I think so. Yeah.
I think he's gonna. I think we're gonna.
I think they're trying to move him, but
They've been trying.
Yeah. Well,
No
yeah.
one wants it. This is the money year. Like last year was the tryout year. This year is where all the money is. You hope he hits, and then this year's value. It's not.
Yeah. No, I
$17 million.
I think he makes the team, and I think I think they're going to use him like he was used in New York. It's a situational.
I think he's a
pass
healthy
rusher.
scratch until they find a trade partner. I mean, they benched him for the Super Bowl. I don't think they have any problem benching him again.
Yeah, that's true.
And like I said, I think Ojulari is better than he is. I even think Josh Uche brings more to the table than he does at times. So it's edge rusher is my favorite competition on paper, along with the offensive line. I think it's gonna be really fun to watch the battles go out.
Yeah.
I'll give one thing: position in need. I think if I was going to add a veteran anywhere, it'd be the interior defensive line, where they only have 7 guys total. But other than that, man, I think we're going to be in for a really fun offseason.
Yeah, it's already starting off well. I think, and like I said, he didn't reach too much. He tried to get Campbell moved up, still fell in his lap at 31.
Well, I thought they filled holes. Like I said, they filled a lot of holes in free agency with a lot of 1-year tryout contracts, but then they didn't slot those guys into roster spots. They continued to build competition at those spots in need. But yet I feel like they didn't reach on anybody. I mean, every guy they took a pick at, I mean, you talk about where they took them. I mean, 99% of people had Jahad Campbell as a top 15 player. You got him to pick 31.
Yeah.
Some people had Makuba top 50, some didn't. You got him 64. No one had a late 3 on Makuba. I mean, it was early 2 to like maybe could slip into like the first pick of the 3rd round kind of thing. He wasn't going to fall. You got good value. They trade out of the 3rd, come back to 111, and Ty Robinson's sitting there. You can't, it's one of those things where you couldn't make it up, Nate. I mean, it was like then McCord's sitting there, and it's like, well, the Eagles aren't going to pass this. I mean, we were talking about Shador for him, which, from what I understand, they will not clarify anything on that, whether that was all spoke or nothing. I don't think there's a way in shit they were going to take the player.
They were taking Shador Sanders, dog.
They were not going to do that to Jalen Hurts.
There's a reason why Cleveland jumped. There's
a reason why they jumped, but I think Cleveland, if you go back to the video, Jimmy Haslam's the only guy celebrating in the room, which is the owner. So I think there's something to be told there. But I like what they did, man. I thought they shopped everywhere. I think that the offensive linemen, the 3 kids, Kendall, Williams, and Henton, I think, they signed Lamb prior, and then you traded for Kenyon Green. I think those 3 guys thought that they were signing with Philly, and they saw the roster and they go, pre-draft, if they draft this kid to be Lane's successor, I don't have to worry about a job. I'll be here. And now you're looking at 3 kids that they got kind of later in the draft that you're like, wait a minute, these dudes have pennies on their contracts. And they're under contract for multiple years. So last note, largest draft class since 2020. And 2020 was an awful, awful draft class outside of Jalen Hurts. So I think the process this time was much better. And
then we got more picks next year.
We do. Yeah, we have
a shit ton of picks.
Dude, we're rolling in draft picks. So
yeah,
just to know we could always trade and add a player. So don't think that, what does Howie Roseman say? He says roster building seasons 24/7.
Absolutely. So, all right, I think everybody's come and left. Threw it out. We had a good, good viewship today. So thanks everybody for joining. Again, I'll put this back up. Make sure you hit me on the merch. Moneypotbetting.com is a little shirt, Money Pot shirt I got on. Got the hat on as well. So go ahead and support your boys. And always, hit a like, hit a follow, hit subscribe. Cost you nothing. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm the player. They call me Moss Money. That's your GM, Ernie B. We'll see you guys next week for another Victory Mondays. And I promise I will have the intro together. We'll have the intro together.
Hey, he said it. He said it, not me.
I promise. All right, everybody. Have a good night. See you.
Adios.